Life, love and everything, but welcome once again to our podcast. Today, we're talking about arguments. Now, the key, one of the big keys, now, when I say key, is part of the ingredients of that whole recipe, what makes a long-lasting relationship. We're going to talk about arguments. Now, arguments, trust me, when you're in a long-lasting relationship, you're going to argue. You're going to argue a lot, especially at the beginning. You're going to argue about big things. You're going to argue about little things. You're going to argue about irrelevant things. Yeah. And that's called growth. It's called change. It's called development. And as long as those arguments do not take you to that point where you feel like this is it, we need to end it, it's all good. But even if it does take you to that point, and then you evaluate the situation and you look at exactly what you were arguing about. Was it a productive argument? Because most beneficial arguments in a relationship, correct me if I'm wrong, are they're quality arguments. They're quality debates. They're the things what help your relationship to grow. And if you don't have that, you're never going to grow. So today, stay tuned, keep it locked. It's all about relationships. No, it's all about arguments in relationships.
You finished speaking now.
Okay, so obviously we're going to speak about our own experience.
Of course.
Yeah, because we've been together 40 years, almost 39 and fast approaching 40, right? And arguments in the beginning was a big piece of our life, right? And somehow we're still here, considering the type of arguments we had, right? Where it came to my boys rushing me into the cab going, go, get him out of here. She's coming, right? And then even that night, we're still together. We're still dancing on the dance floor. And after all of that, we go to the next club and it's still good. You know what I mean? Right? How are we still here after all this time with these arguments? Why are we still here after all these arguments? I mean, some of our arguments have been to a point where literally one of us has walked out.
Yeah, and I used to do that a lot.
You did. And I hated it, to be honest. Absolutely hated it.
But to be fair, if you think, right, so pre-having kids, the arguments, they were usually some sort of jealousy arguments, weren't they? They were stupid to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Because we were still very young and we were, I would say, maybe more infatuated with one another, though we loved one another. It was a little bit of infatuation.
No, the love was growing.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
I don't believe in infatuation.
Anyway, so
only because I don't think I've ever been infatuated. I think I've always just loved you.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. An argument's going to happen later tonight.
No,
I think
that's a good thing, isn't it?
I think
is that not a good thing?
Let's
get this on.
What I'm trying to say is, you talking about let's get him in the car and all that sort of stuff. Like I was some sort of monster, which I wasn't. It was that you were very flirtatious.
Still am.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter anymore.
But this is what
But back then,
yeah,
because it may be insecurities.
That's
what led to it.
Yeah,
because we were very, very young and early on in the relationship, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's what led to a lot of that sort of argument.
That's what led to all of that, basically. Just me being flirtatious.
Yeah,
hold on.
Help himself.
But I had a reason. I was a DJ. Yeah, I was an entertainer, right? And not only that, I was in the music industry, right? So you had to have that. To be in that sort of industry, you have to have that vibe. Like everybody's welcome. You understand?
You don't have to have it when you're out with me.
Hold on, honey. Hold on.
We're
having an argument right now.
What was that thing where it was a case of like Johnny, putting you up for rent or sale?
Putting me up for rent? No, it was a competition time, right? So competition time. This was at the Stone Crow.
Crow straight up here.
So if you can guess this tune, you get a dance with G, myself. Yeah. And trust me, You had male and female going up for it, right? But that was it. But you always thought it was all my idea, right?
It probably
It
was.
really wasn't. It really wasn't. This was every single time.
To be fair, I think Johnny probably done it to wind me up.
Yes, he did. Because the thing about it, he couldn't do it.
No.
Right? Because at some point during the night, nearly every night, he'd have at least 2 women what he was seeing at the same time in the place.
I know, and I remember
you remember that.
Yeah.
So he couldn't do it.
Yeah. So he put you up.
So he put me up for it.
But anyway, that was so back in those days. And then I think thinking about like when we moved in together, had kids and all that, the arguments was I wasn't but I mean the general like little ones were not speaking to you. Or we just ignore you.
Yeah, why?
Maybe.
And how did that solve anything?
It probably didn't. It back then it was probably the fact that, like I used to say to you, and we said it before, was I didn't know how to talk. You asked me what's going on. I wasn't sure. And I think it was a case of, I didn't really ever see mum and dad argue, right? Not even really see them argue, but once a year, for some unknown reason, maybe that's where I got it, Dad walked out of the house. And it literally about once a year where he probably thought, I can't be bothered with this anymore, and then walked out. And then he was back later on. It was never, he was away. So maybe I saw it as that was my way to deal with arguments. And that's probably the first time I'm really thinking about that now. So that was my way of dealing with the arguments then, apart from get out of my house.
Get out of my house. I remember the first time you said that to me, get out of my house. I felt like, hold on, we're building this together. This is our house, right? But at that time, clearly it wasn't. In your mind, clearly it wasn't.
Yeah.
Right? And you even said it after we bought that property. And when we bought this, you said it to me as well during the argument, get out of my house. I was like, excuse me? And you were like, yes, my house, get out. I was like, oh, Marana. But the thing about it, I wasn't that guy to walk out of the house. Yeah. I never was that guy to walk out of the house. And that's, I remember that Christmas when the kids had the argument. It was during COVID time, we was having a quiz thing.
Oh.
And our boys, they were here. The girls were on screen, all the families there. And our 2 boys had an argument. To be fair, because they're older, they were older at that time, not to say they're younger now. It hit me a lot. It hurt me a lot.
It did. Because I think it wasn't just a little argument. Although
No, it was a little stupid argument.
No, but I mean, they were like defending what they had to say about it.
It's like they're defending their honour.
Yeah,
sort of
and it was like, right? They weren't backing down.
And the thing about it was not just what they were saying, it's how they were saying.
Yeah, it was aggressive.
Right?
It was.
And that to be fair, that was one of the first time. To be fair, that was the first time I realised what you saw in me when I was telling one of the kids off, because it's that man sort of thing, right? Whereas you don't see that in yourself. See, when you doing it, I see a woman, you know what I mean? Which is, to me, is just as scary.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why when the children had an argument, they had a fight or whatever, I ended up getting the blame because I'm kind of trying to stop it. But I'm just me, like, you understand?
But
But that day, I remember walking out the door. I got up, calm as a cucumber, put my trainers, got my jacket, and I literally put my head around the living room door and I said, it's my turn. And that was my first time, maybe second time, walking out this house, right? And that's when I left. And for some unknown reason, because that was Christmas.
It must have been around Christmas.
It was Christmas. It was Christmas time or Boxing Day or something, right? And then I phoned Patricia, Adrian's mum. Yeah. And that was the last time that I spoke to her because she died of COVID in February. Right. So I literally 4.5 weeks later, 4, 5, 6 weeks later, it would have been, she died of COVID with me and Adrian sitting there holding her hand. And for me, when I think back to that day, the argument, everything happened. And then I left, I walked down to the country park and I was on the phone to Pat for about an hour, 45 minutes. And we literally spoke about life, love and everything. Right. And she said certain things to me, which was like, make sure you look after him when I'm gone and this sort of stuff, right? Which I just took as normal stuff, you know what I mean? Right? But then she was gone. And you see that type of argument, what they had, triggered something else, which made me go down the road, speak to her. Otherwise, I wouldn't have spoken to her. I wouldn't have called her that day.
Yeah.
I would have called her the following day. Like I usually call her on, pretty sure it was Christmas Day because I usually call her on Boxing Day. Right?
No, it wasn't Christmas Day. We wouldn't have done the quiz on Christmas Day.
I'm pretty sure because it was COVID times, man. People weren't allowed.
We didn't do Christmas Day.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever day it was, I know I was supposed to call her the following day. Christmas Day.
It wasn't. You wouldn't do a COVID Christmas quiz on Christmas Day.
Why?
No,
Yeah.
because at Christmas Day we were going around driving presents around.
Yeah, and we came back and we would say to them, "We see you at the quiz later."
No, we didn't.
Oh my God! Here we go.
Anyway, but I think the thing with the whole...
what I'm saying with that was, the saying, "Everything for a reason." Yeah, everything for a reason.
Yeah,
but there was a reason for that calamity to happen. For me to be out there to speak to Pat.
But let's get back to arguments.
But that's what I'm saying. A lot of arguments, everything for a reason. It's a part of that growth, or not in some cases.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen my mum and dad and heard my mum and dad argue loads. Sorry if you heard that moan and groan. That's Lex, our dog, sleeping in the background. I've heard my mum and dad argue with lots. I've seen the anger from dad. I've seen the anger from mum. I've seen all of that stuff. There was a time when dad used to drink a lot. Dad would come home, cuss to a bad word and and go on how he was, right? And Curtis, why you got to drink so much? And you know what I mean? Right? And so I've seen it. Not that it was bad and dad would box mum or anything, right? But I've seen the argument. Dad would just end up crashing out on the living room floor on the sofa. Like that Christmas when we found him underneath the dining table, right?
That's funny.
But those arguments, they were together. How long were they together? They were together since God knows how long.
Yeah.
You understand? It didn't disrupt the relationship.
Okay.
It was a part of their growth and development.
But I think with arguments, so going back to the whole thing, at the beginning, it was stupid. It was like pre us living together. Then it was a case of, I just wasn't really engaging in arguments. I would just get so peed off. I just would not speak to you. A bit like the time when you ruined my floor. Okay. But anyway. But so there's that. And then the other thing with the arguments, I would say, which I think is, I don't understand it when I hear it or I hear of it happening, is when people degrade the person that they supposedly love in an argument, because that is really hurtful.
That's not an argument.
That's
like, just cussing.
Yeah, and the one thing that we have never done is I have never called you anything. I have been annoyed with you.
You've never called me anything.
No, what I mean.
Not during an argument, but just out of taking the mick.
Yeah, you get face, as it would be.
Proper.
But you're not. I've never said anything horrible to you. I mean, and that's what it is. I haven't said anything horrible to you during an argument. I don't believe anyone.
No, nothing degrading.
No.
Yeah. No. Nothing like that at all. Like,
I think that's really. I don't know how you would ever take those words back.
No, you can't take those words back, because in the heat of an argument, you mean what you're saying.
Yeah.
You do mean what you're saying, and someone can turn around and say, "Oh, I was hit up. It was an argument. I didn't mean that." You did mean that.
Yeah. It's
You know what I mean?
nothing
Like,
said without no smoke
malice.
without fire,
Yeah.
isn't there? There's got to be some thought in your head where you're saying something or you're thinking something for those words to come out.
I think the most we ever got to anything degrading was F you and you saying back to me, F you. Yeah.
I don't think I swear in an argument. I don't think I do.
No, you don't swear in an argument. You just cuss two bad words. Yeah. But anyway,
I do not.
all of those sort of things, right? So the early days, mad arguments, right? And that was developing trust, understanding each other, all of that sort of stuff. Yeah. Then later on in life, after the kids were born, only arguments we ever had was children and money.
Yeah.
It was always children and money.
And I think, I probably think more so money back then because it was struggles.
Times were hard.
And it was like, you going doing whatever and me trying to work out budgets and stuff like that. And not, I suppose, back in the days, it was like always a waiting game with you. So there was lots of frustrations there.
Yeah, I get that.
And I suppose trying to juggle things. But I was with you. I accepted what you were doing. And that was obviously the studio, doing the music, etc. Although there was like, how long, what's the longest you reckon I sat out in the car waiting for you?
The longest?
Yeah.
There was a time it was nearly 2.5 hours you were waiting.
Never doing that again.
Yeah. And you literally said never doing that again.
Never.
Right? I think that was the last straw because Titch was in there with me.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I'm sure Titch was in the car with me.
No. You sat out there long with Titch in the car as well, but you sat out there longer because Titch was in the studio with me, right? And there's been times where Titch has been in there and Tracy comes into me and said, gee, Mary's just left. You need to make your way with Titch. And I've had to call a cab, right? And I've done that more or less straight away because it's like, oh my God. Right? And that, oh my God, is a large part of that is me thinking, I've let you down.
How many times?
But it's not that I've let you down. I'm doing me. Yeah. I'm just doing me. Right. And you've got to do you. So and that's one of the key things about a relationship is you always have to have that individuality. You can't let one person control the relationship and the other person just be a lapdog. Right. You have to have your individuality. Right. It's like, that saying, I think I said this to you the other day, not a big fan of that yes dear quote.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, because for me, yes dear takes away your individuality. Right. So anything she asks you to do, anything she asked, has it been done? Anything she needs doing, right? It's yes dear. Right. No, I disagree with that. Not 100%, but
no. And to be fair, I understand because you have tried that. You've said to me a couple of times, from now on, it's going to be yes, dear. And it probably didn't last any more than 5 minutes. If we're lucky.
It was like the only time I said it was when I said, from now on, it's going to be yes, dear. That was it. Moving on.
And the yes, dear is basically you're sort of just keeping it calm. You're just keeping it.
It's that whole thing, happy wife, happy life.
Yeah.
And I believe in that. Yeah, happy wife, happy life. However, what about happy hubby?
Doesn't exist. Just
do you understand? No, it's about happy us.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Because happy wife, happy life refers to man just doing what he can to keep wifey happy. And if man is just doing that, then man is not happy. Lex, stay, please. Stay. Yeah? If man's not happy if he's just doing that, clearly.
And the thing about it is
happy us, no
happy
fuss.
Us. There you go.
Basically.
Happy as, no fuss.
Yeah.
No fuss, happy as.
There you go.
So that means you're not going to fuss over me anymore.
I always fuss over you, eh?
But you just said no fuss, happy as.
No, oh my good God.
Not going to live it down.
Yes, dear.
I suppose the main thing with anything to do with arguments is whatever the argument is about, that is just a heated moment, and it's something that happens for a short period of time. People focus on that, and actually that's only a small percentage of the time that they're together. There's so much good things that are going on. So it's about working and saying, all right, we've had this argument. How do we move on?
100%.
What can we do to move on?
I totally 100% agree with that statement. However, right, arguments focusing on that negativity, it's a natural human reaction.
Yes.
We always focus on the negativity. Yeah. Right. Don't you just love this? How he's trying to creep around. Yeah. We always, humans were out nightclub, a day out, whatever. And there's a 10-minute incident. The following day, somebody, besides that 8 hours, let's say 7 hours and 50 minutes where you were out for 8 hours, right? 7 hours and 50 minutes of that was perfect. However, there was 10 minutes during that period of time. There was an incident, something happened. And as human beings, what we tend to do, we focus on that little bit of time as a negative because that's what naturally stands out in our heads. And it's part of our programming in society. We've been programmed that way to focus on negative, right? Because negativity keeps us down, right? Keeps us in place, keeps us where we need to be. Positivity helps us to move up. A lot of people don't want to see that. Simple as a lot of people just don't want to see that, right? So I'm pretty sure we focused on this at some point in one of our earlier podcasts. Focus on the positivity, not the negativity. And it's just a case of reprogramming, right? So the following day, someone says to you, oh, how was your day out? How was the nightclub? How was the dance? Whatever. You say, oh, mate, you wouldn't believe what happened. That's the first thing you tell them, this 10-minute incident.
Yeah.
Right? You don't talk about the time you spent on the dance floor, the DJ played your tune, big up your crew, whatever. You understand? You don't tell them all the positive stuff, what happened, what made you feel good. The first thing you mention is that 10-minute incident, right? So it is a case of when we in a relationship, we have an argument, right? I mean, now it doesn't even get to an argument. It's just like, oh, is that it then? Ha. And then all of a sudden, yeah, so honey, and it's done, right? But that's part of growth. That's part of development, right? It's because we know that if we don't need to talk about it, it's because it was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just something petty or one of us was in a mood. You understand? So you're not talking to me because you're peed off about something.
And to be fair, if you think, how many arguments start because someone's in the mood? And it's how, it's what you've always said to the kids. It's how you react to a situation. Yeah.
100%.
So if you react differently to what you're presented with, actually, it can be a completely different outcome.
Yeah. And I would say something which I do admire about you. For example, last night, I wasn't feeling great. I wasn't in a good space at all, right? And you were saying things which could have easily have sparked me, right? When you said you're going to come and sit next to me last night, I literally said to myself, why? Yeah, why are you going to do that? But you know what? It's the best thing that could have happened. Because as soon as you sat down next to me, all that frustration, everything I had built up in me, all went. Yeah, maybe it went in that big fart that I'd done as well, but it all went. Right.
Are we going to have a topic about farting?
Well, we will discuss farting, Mary. Yes, because you are a professional.
No, you are. You are the ultimate.
I'm a professional
cover-upper.
Sneaky fart, yeah. And I always fart, when you're out in public, always fart next to someone and walk away indiscreetly. Yeah, because that person will go, and they will think, did I just do that?
Do you know what? This is slightly off topic, but I was in Marks and Sparks the other day, just walking through, and there was these kids, 2 kids and their mum. The mum was over 1 point, and these 2 little boys, probably about 8 or 9, in one area. And you see them in one area, and then they run away from that area. And I walk through it, and I'm thinking, really?
Excellent. I like that.
But yeah.
But yeah, arguments, it's gonna happen. And it's a big thing what I talk about, understanding personalities. Yeah. There's a book out there called Personality Plus. Read it if you can find it. I'll drop it in the link below as well. But Personality Plus, it gives you a big insight into personalities. One of my favorite books of all time. You've read it once or twice. I've read it untold times. Yeah. I've even taught it when I've been doing the mentoring, right? But personalities is key. If you do not understand that personality, where that person's coming from, when you hit up on an argument, you're done for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just doomed. But that's a part of growth in a relationship, understanding that person. Part of that understanding comes in communication. Part of that comes in arguments. Yeah. I've seen people have an argument. Okay. Like, for example, I won't even, just to get cut straight to the point. The last podcast, never get involved in a female argument. Soon as you step in there as a male, yeah, you are the bad guy. Yeah. It's just like if you see a couple arguing on the road and you want to quash it. You want to do something about it because you don't know where this is going. But as soon as you step in, if that guy, you feel the guy's a bit angry with this woman and that woman turns around to you and goes, "What you doing?" Don't even open your mouth and say, "Oh, I'm trying to help." Yeah. Because she's got this. Clearly she's got this. Right. Well, hopefully she's got this, because that's the thing. Right. Some women will turn around and say, "Go away," this, that, and the other, out of their own sort of self-pride as well.
Yeah.
But actually they're in a crappy situation, as it would be. Right.
And to be fair, it could be vice versa.
It could be vice versa, obviously. Obviously, I'm focusing on women because the atmosphere, what we're in, the atmosphere, the what do they call it? Not atmosphere, the current climate. Current climate. It's the atmosphere, isn't it? Right. So the current climate is all about women and things happening.
I think in those cases, it's just to be mindful.
Be mindful, yeah.
Yeah, be mindful of, if you see something, it doesn't mean you walk away and you ignore it, but it doesn't mean you jump in and get involved because you do not know the background.
Yeah, you do not know the background.
You can just
I've got
be there
before where I've jumped in and tried to sort out an argument, and yeah, it's not great. But the main point of today is, do not be afraid of the arguments.
No.
Yeah. As long as they are constructive, nothing wrong with that at all. If your partner starts to degrade you in an argument and call you names, walk away. That's all I can say, right? Because they haven't got the right play to make that whole game stay. Trust me on that, right? That it needs to be. Arguments are mutual. Arguing is love, basically.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, it's true. You only argue with someone if there is something between you. But as you've said before, it's growth. It's about building trust. And I think our dog has had it with us doing this anymore.
He sure has, baby boy. And you know what else I'll drop in the link below as well is one of our free ebooks on relationships and arguments as well. Yeah. Check it out and let us know what you think as well. And we'll see you in the next one.
1, 2, 3, 4.